All right, you've seen the product. Now it's time to take action. It's all about that miracle food. My man Chakra Doctor has put some of the greatest superfoods on the planet here in one bottle for you. I know we see COVID going crazy and a lot of different things, testing our immune system. This right here is a perfect cleanse and reboot. Great for the immune system and a great anti-inflammatory. Miracle food. Tell them Viral Hip Hop News sent you. Let's go. Indeed, man. Thank you for sharing. Blackenup.com. You see the shirt. Go follow. Let's go. Tyler Perry, one of old guy's favorite actors and favorite series. It's coming back out. I don't know if you've seen this, but he got a new series with Viacom called Mabel. It's set to have Madea in the 70s. Now, he said, I believe he was on T.I.'s podcast when he talked about and acknowledged the criticism, the immaculation of the black man by the 6'4" strong black man thrown on his dress through countless movies and the impact it may have had and some of the criticism. So he's well aware of it. He said he wasn't putting it on anymore. And now we got a series premiering on Showtime. Dr. Boyce Watkins, I would like to get your thoughts on Tyler Perry and him kind of reenacting his role as Madea in this new series on Showtime.
Let me say this. I've only talked to Tyler Perry one time, and it was years ago, like maybe 2014. And he's one of the nicest guys in the world. And I really enjoy talking to him. He's very intelligent. Literally, I think right after I talked to him 2 days earlier, there was the cover of Hollywood Reporter that said that he was the highest paid man in Hollywood. He made $100 million a year. And I remember I asked him, I said, so how does that feel to be on the magazine as the highest paid man in Hollywood? He said, I hate it. He said, I hate having everybody know how much money I make. Nobody wants it, how much money they make to be on the magazine. And I said, yeah, I can understand that. And we also talked about Madea. And one of the things that he said back then, like I want to say it was 2013, actually, not even 2014, like 2013, was he kind of gave me the insinuation that he doesn't like putting on the dress and that it was coming to an end, right? That one day it was going to come to an end. Now, the reality, obviously, is that it didn't come to an end, right? It kept going. And I'm not saying he was a liar or anything, but it would have been unrealistic to think that this was going to stop because that's the thing that made you into what you are. Right, Tyler Perry Studios. Let's just keep it 100. It's the house that Madea built. It's almost like for Tyler Perry to somehow disconnect what he's doing to the fact that he put on the dress. That's like when Planned Parenthood says, "Well, we don't really do abortions. We're a women's health clinic." No, we know why y'all there. Stop it. Just stop it. Right. So with Tyler, it's a mixed bag because here you have this guy who is very well respected, who's done very well financially. Who is, he's black first, and I think that, and I think what he also does is he reminds you to acknowledge the fact that not every black person is, heterosexual, right? Like I mean, we have people in our community who are in the LGBT space, and I think Tyler represents that, right? I'm not saying he's in that space. I'm not talking about his sexuality. I don't care, but generally speaking. There is a community that's there that matters, and they love black people too. And I refuse to reject them because of that. However, you must also acknowledge the fact that Tyler made money in a way that most black men cannot, most black men will not, and most black men should not. He made money in a way that was incredibly uncreative by the fact that black men have always been able to be accepted by white supremacy when you act like a clown or you act like a little girl or you act like an idiot, and so with Tyler, I'm not saying he's an idiot and all these other things, but I will say that we know that Madea is a clown and we know that that is a minstrel show. That's what it is. Let's just keep it 100, right? And so I think it's kind of a mixed legacy. It's like it's not as if he can say, well, if I did it, anybody can do it. No, everybody ain't gonna do it. Everybody can't do it. And everybody ain't gonna do it, right? No, and also he got a special ticket. You get a special pass in Hollywood when you are a black man that's willing to put on a dress. When you say, I won't put on that dress, or I'm not gonna let you emasculate me, just know you will not get certain opportunities in Hollywood. Your projects will not get back in a certain way. But that doesn't mean you can't be successful. It just means that perhaps you have to accept a different type of success that might not be the $100 million deal, but maybe it's the $5 or $10 million deal. You've got people in LA in Atlanta, Lamar Tyler, Jay Morrison, people like that are making movies that are good and making money, at, at the multi-million-dollar level that are not, putting on a dress, right? So, I think with Tyler, it's a mixed legacy for sure. I think that Madea coming back, it doesn't surprise me. Madea is his cash cow, and I think Tyler just needs to go ahead and just come out the closet with just look. This is what I do, right? Every movie ain't a Madea movie, right? Between the Madea movies, I'm gonna make a movie about church and family, and I'm going to appeal to a specific demographic. These are not the people that watch Tyler Perry movies incessantly are not typically, your intellectual types or whatever. I can't get through a Tyler Perry movie most of the time, right? But there's a place for that. And also there are things we can learn from a Tyler Perry in terms of how you do business. He's hired so many people, etc. But I think as a community, we got to be careful about elevating Tyler Perry without putting an asterisk next to his name. It's almost like that sprinter that's on steroids who ran faster than everybody else, but you got to acknowledge that he was on them drugs when he did it. You can't act like he's like everybody else, because then you're feeding into white supremacy, because white supremacy will reward you if you play the game in the way they want you to play it.
Right. Now, I know probably a few years ago, I heard you probably speaking about this. At one point, you were a professor at some of the most prestigious schools in America, Syracuse. What happened, as a black man that made you say, you know what? I want to get out of there and start my own business, and be my own CEO, my own boss. What happened in the college? What did you see that made you make that transition?
Well, first thing is, I've been a black man my whole life, and the same stuff that people see on the job when they go to the Ford plant is what you see when you go to your job as a professor. It's not that much different. It doesn't mean that the people were bad. It's just that I remember I grew up with a false model of black success. I grew up with the integrationist model. You go to school, you work hard, get good grades, and somebody will give you a good job and all that good stuff. And that was just a false way to, just a false model. That's not the best way to black power. But that's what I did. And first thing was I went to school for a while. I was in school till I was like 31 years old. And I never one single time ever had a black professor. Never. On our campus, we had, of course, the whole basketball team is black because they like to use black men to make money for the basketball team, but they didn't hire black professors. And so I get my PhD, and I was kind of hot shit because I was one of the few in the world that had my credentials at that time. And so I was recruited by different places. But what happened was I was dropped in a situation that was built for failure. It was like being a fish out of water. Like, I'm dropped in this space. I had no mentors that understood me. I'm the only black person within a 100-mile radius. I don't understand the culture. I don't understand these people. Also, I began to question the value and the validity of the work that I was doing. When we grew up, we were taught that the way to be successful as a black person is to get out of the hood. Get out of the hood, go get a good job, and just go to these other spaces. And I learned that when you do that, when you get away from your own and you start being surrounded by these people who don't understand you, you put yourself in a position of weakness. So I started to feel very triggered and pissed off and vulnerable, just being in that environment. But also, I remember questioning, like, is this really valuable work? Like, okay, yeah, I'm making good money, but I'm not even teaching black people. I'm teaching like white kids and Jewish kids and stuff like that how to go make money on Wall Street. And that's cool, but that did not drive my passion. That was not where my services were most effective. So that was when I began the process to say, how do I start from the beginning? I started off almost like a little baby, and I started taking classes and stuff on how to start a business. A lot of people don't know, most business school professors have never run a business. So I sat there and I was studying this stuff just like I was a freshman in college again. And I was determined to find a way to get off the plantation, and I did, and it's been great since then because I really felt like I was coming home, instead of teaching a bunch of people that I don't relate to, who don't understand me. I get to talk to black people every day. Like, that's heaven for me. I've had a chance to achieve all the things that a man would want. Like, every man wants to be, every ambitious man anyway, you want to make money, you want to be recognized for your work. Like, I've had a chance to have all that. And I got a chance to have it all by being me, by being myself. Whereas before, I could only have a chance to have even a fraction of that by pretending to be somebody else, and so that self-love piece about just knowing who I am, accepting who I am, and saying, who I am is okay. That was really important because in the environment I was in before, you had to kind of hide. You had to code switch. You couldn't let them know you were too black. Well, I'm very black, and what's wrong with being very black, right? It's only a bad thing if you're in the wrong environment. So in a way, I would compare it to almost like if you're a football players are very violent, right? And violence can be very bad or it can be very good, right? So if you are not on the football field and you're violent, you're going to go to jail, right? So what you do is you get on the football field and then you can be as violent as you want. Or if you're a soldier and you're violent, join the military, right? So that's what it was. I wanted to be very black, so I got with black people, and now my blackness is an asset and not a liability. So that was really my thought process in all of that.
What's good, man? This is Sam Ant, CEO of Viral Hip Hop News. Listen, I appreciate each and every one of y'all who are going to check out this documentary. Shout out to my man Lonnie Fresh. Do me a favor, go to YouTube right now. Go subscribe to Viral Hip Hop News, one of the best hip hop platforms out here right now. We also have The Hub, Hip Hop News Uncensored, of course, the podcast, the baddest podcast out, the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. We drop 7 days a week, doing this thing 100% independent.
There was not one day that I was at work on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that I wished I was somewhere else.
Now let's talk about the Players Club, because you, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that's like your first major role in a movie, right?
Taking over the game. Sincerely appreciate each and every one of y'all. You can grab merch on the YouTube site. You can talk to me on there and much more. Sam Ant, CEO of Viral Hip Hop News. Appreciate each and every one of y'all.
Oh God, you the man, Cass. I spit white like a clan mask, and I'm a hustler. I could